By the time Julius Caesar stood in the Roman Senate, surrounded by men who called him friend, he already knew. He had known for weeks, not because he was told, but because men like Caesar always know when the room has changed. The warmth had gone out of their eyes. The laughter came half a second too late. The hands that once gripped his shoulder now barely touched him. He knew. And yet, he walked in anyway. This is not a story about ambition. Every biography will tell you about his campaigns, his genius, his conquest of Gaul, his crossing of the Rubicon. That is not what this is. This is a story about something far more uncomfortable. This is the story of a man who built the greatest machine of power the ancient world had ever seen, and discovered, at the very end, that he had no idea how to stop it from consuming him. Gaius Julius Caesar was born in 100 BC into a family that was noble in name and nearly bankrupt in reality. The Julii were an old family, ancient lineage, prestigious ancestors, and absolutely no money. This matters more than any battle he ever fought, because the thing that drove Caesar, the engine underneath everything, was not ambition in the way we use that word today. It was humiliation. The specific, corrosive humiliation of being told you belong to greatness while living in its ruins. Rome in the 1st century BC was not the empire we imagine. It was a city tearing itself apart. Old families versus new money. Generals versus senators. The Republic's bones were already rotting. And into this, a young man with a famous name, no fortune, and a mind that terrified everyone who encountered it. His father died when Caesar was 15. 15. In Roman society, this meant one thing immediately. You were vulnerable. Without a powerful patriarch, the family name meant nothing. Enemies could move, debts could be called, marriages could be unmade. Caesar learned something at 15 that most men spend their entire lives avoiding. The world does not wait for you to be ready. He borrowed money, enormous sums, dangerous sums, the kind of debt that, if you failed, meant not embarrassment, but death. Because in Rome, debt of that scale came with enemies who collected personally. He used that money to buy political favors, to fund public games, to bribe, to build a network of men who owed him something. Every denarius he spent was not spending. It was investment in a machine he was assembling piece by piece. By his 30s, he was already in motion. Military campaigns in Spain, political maneuvering in Rome, the first triumvirate, an alliance between Caesar, Pompey, and Crassus that quietly divided the Roman world between 3 men while the Senate argued about procedure. Then Gaul. 8 years, over 1 million people killed, another 1 million enslaved. Modern historians estimate the Gallic campaigns destroyed roughly 1/3 of the Gallic population. He wrote about it himself, clinical, precise, third person. Caesar did this, Caesar ordered that, as if the man writing and the man killing were 2 different people. This is the part that should disturb you. Because Caesar wasn't cruel in the way tyrants are usually portrayed. He wasn't sadistic. He wasn't chaotic. He was systematic. He understood that power, at scale, requires you to stop feeling the weight of individual decisions. To function as a general, a politician, a machine, you must learn to see men as variables. Caesar learned this completely, and that learning cost him something he would never recover. Here is where I need you to stay with me, because what happened to Caesar is not a story from 2,000 years ago. It is the story of every person who has ever built something so large that it required them to become someone else to maintain it. We see it in founders who cannot sleep, in executives who have forgotten their children's schedules, in men who have climbed so far that the view from the top looks nothing like what he imagined, and returning is no longer possible. Caesar crossed the Rubicon in 49 BC. That phrase, crossing the Rubicon, has become shorthand for a point of no return. But what we forget is what Caesar said at that moment. According to Suetonius, he looked at his army, looked at the river, and said quietly, "The die is cast." Not triumph, not excitement. The die is cast. The words of a man who understood that he was not